everybody. Hi. So, today I'm going to do something that I've actually never done before, and that is to go live with someone else. Hey guys. So what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting to see Josh Saviano ask to join, and then I'm going to hit yes or whatever. So, let's see. Let's see who else. I don't know what I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for Josh to join. I think he's going to join soon. Wait, a whole bunch of people are asking to join. I'm just looking for Josh, guys. How does this work? Well, hi, in the meantime. Hey, Ed from Fort Lauderdale and Oli from Atlanta. Okay, let's see if he's in this list. There's like lists of people. Oh, there we go. Wait, well, Josh. There we go. Okay. Let's see, does it work? It says waiting for Josh. This is very exciting. So you guys, oh, there's a split screen.
I think we're there.
Hey. All right, so I am also on Facebook and Twitter over here. But you guys, you can hear Josh Saviano's voice if you want to see him. Come over to Instagram Live, either mine or Josh's. And we're doing our first joint Instagram. Because you know what? We're all stuck at home and we want to bring joy, and we're going to hang out and talk about the Wonder Years. By the way, look at this. I've got my Wonder Years.
Oh, you're one up on me. That's very cool.
I mean, I've had this thing forever, and I don't use it very often, but I made some soup.
My mom has one of those. I lost mine in Hurricane Sandy, but my mom has the last one in my family.
That's right. I remember you lost all that stuff.
I lost everything.
Okay, so ask us questions about the Wonder Years. Ask us whatever you want. We're here to hang out with you guys for a little bit, and I don't know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, whatever. And I know a lot of people love the show. I mean, I get you guys message me all the time, and it's so great to hear how much of an effect it's had on you guys. But ask us, how do you see both at the same time? Go to Instagram. Go to my Instagram or Josh's Instagram, and that's where you can see both of us.
On live on the stories.
Yeah, live on the stories, right. So either go to mine or Josh's Instagram and click on the circle, and you'll see the live. Yeah.
Hey, Danica.
Hey, so what's your favorite parts about your characters? Josh, you want to take that one first?
Favorite part about my character? I think over time I've learned to sort of accept or love the fact that Paul has become the quintessential best friend, like iconic best friend. Everyone throughout time that has come up to me and said that they, everybody wants a friend like Paul, so I'll embrace that.
He is a good friend. I mean, I still remember, I guess was it the first episode that you, and so that, well, not you, but Paul and Kevin stole the book from the bookstore?
Second episode. I'm just rewatching them. I'm rewatching them with my daughter for the first time.
And, are you?
We're about almost through the second season.
Oh my goodness.
The second episode.
How old is she?
She will be 13 in a couple weeks.
See, my son's 9, and I have not yet introduced him. He's seen pictures here and there, and he's like, "Mommy, who's that?" I'm like, "Everybody else says I look the same." So my son doesn't recognize me.
When we did the TV Land thing at the 92nd Street Y, that was the first time that my daughter saw me on the screen like that.
Oh, wow. That's right. She was there.
Yeah.
And my favorite part about my character, you know what I like about Winnie is that she made that transformation in that. Well, okay, I mean, there are a lot of things, but one of the things I liked about her, because I don't know about you guys, but I was a big fan of the movie Grease. And you know how, like, Sandy goes through that transformation, she becomes cool. I love the fact that my character went from being a tomboy to being like super hip 60s chick. I just thought that was fun. Also, she was really good at math, and that was awesome. And everybody liked to talk about that.
There have been a lot of good questions that came through the screen. Let me flip through a couple of them. We can try to grab a couple. One was, someone mentioned something about David Schwimmer, but I think that's actually a good point about, I didn't fully appreciate while it was happening how many people came through the show.
I know, so many people.
So many people came through the show.
I mean,
we had Juliette Lewis,
yes.
David Schwimmer, Alicia Silverstone.
That's right.
Chad Allen. Giovanni Ribisi.
That's right, Giovanni Ribisi. Totally. Well, hey, if Leo DiCaprio could do growing pains, then
I know,
Giovanni could do.
Right. I know. It's funny.
And of course, people are asking, would you ever be down to do a reboot of the Wonder Years? I mean, you know, if it were done right, if there were a good enough idea, but you know, I wouldn't want to.
Fred and I have talked a lot about this. You and I have talked a lot about this too. I think the whole point of the show was like it's nostalgic, and you want to look back at your childhood.
You can't go back.
You can't go back.
It's about a time in your life you can't go back to, and it's about reminiscing and yeah, like what would that even be? I've always liked to have an open mind, so I don't like to say like no, but I've yet to think of or hear an idea that made sense.
As a reboot. I agree. I think it would be interesting to now look back on it and see how applicable themes were to today. Like, not necessarily comparing it specifically and going on and doing a production around it, but like talking around that. Podcast around it, like West Wing.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know what? Josh Mulaney did that for West Wing.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty cool idea. Especially
it was. Went through every single episode. I don't know who has time for that. He's a parent too. Like, how do
Josh and I have a special thing on Twitter because we're both Joshes.
Oh, of course you would, yes. Yeah. So let's see, questions. You watched every episode with your kid, Rhoda? That's amazing.
Well, someone asked if Crystal auditioned for Winnie.
Oh, my sister.
Yeah.
Yes, my sister Crystal did audition. We both auditioned for the part of Winnie Cooper. And at the time, luckily, at the time, the character was only supposed to be one episode. So it wasn't like we were both auditioning for this huge, big thing, and then I got it. But they loved her so much, they said, we're going to write you a part if this goes to series. And it did, and they did, and she played Becky Slater. How many of you guys knew that my sister played Becky Slater, and how many of you didn't know? Say, like, I knew or I didn't know. I'm always curious, because I've talked about it so many times, like, throughout my life, and still, so many people didn't know. You knew? Hey, why are the comments frozen on Instagram? That's weird.
I'm getting
I don't know how this works. You did not know. Look, all these people saying they didn't know. Oh my gosh.
Never know. Here they come. Yeah, it's a little bit.
Yeah.
I knew.
Amazing.
Now to all.
I honestly don't know which. I lost track of which one of these is Periscope and which one is Facebook over here. I forgot.
You have so many screens, Danica.
And 3 screens. But I'm looking at 4 faces because one of those faces is yours.
Yes. I'm honored to be part of this.
I've got my little setup here. I've got my tripod thingy. Not my tripod. It says stand. This Archon mounts. Shout out to them. They just gave this to me for free. And I've got a ring light that I did pay for. Periscope. You're going to Periscope here? Thank you for letting me know. So Periscope's in the middle. Facebook's right there. Okay. You did hear that my sister is Becky? My sister is not single, Benny. She is happily married and quarantined right now in San Francisco. So,
one of the cool things I've learned about Instagram is how many fans we have in Peru and Brazil.
Yes.
Shout out to Peru and Brazil. You guys are always asking me to give you shout outs. Shout out to Brazil and Peru.
Just the whole countries.
The whole countries.
Yes. Yes, my sister was on the Wonder Years. She played Becky Slater, Christian. Does it seem like, because Chris asked, does it seem like a blur, or do we remember a lot from back in the day? I think I remember a lot. It was 6 years of memory, so I'm sure there's a lot that we've forgotten, but I remember a lot of things.
I remember like rewatching the show triggers specific memories of production, and I'm not allowed to say those things during the episode with my family. That was one of the rules of watching with me, is that I can't give them behind the sines during. You
can't be reminiscing. They're like, enough, Dad. Yeah.
Yeah. Or like, you know what was happening behind that scene? We don't care.
Exactly. I'm trying to watch the show. It's a good show.
Exactly.
Yes, it's true.
What else we got here?
Yeah. Where was the show supposed to take place? That's a good question. We are not sure, but suburbs somewhere. Probably not anywhere that snows because we never saw snow.
Arnoldville, USA. Arnoldville, USA.
That's right.
I mean, obviously, if you know the West Coast, you see the valley and the mountains in the background. But there's also a ton of references to Long Island things, which is where Neil and Carol grew up. So,
yeah, that's the thing. And it almost felt kind of Midwestern in a way. But
that was the suburban, the homey feel. But there's references to like Jericho High School, which is in Long Island, and Kitty City, which is a playground in Long Island. Obviously, the Jets. So I think that's an homage.
Yes, the Jets jacket, of course. The famous Jets jacket, which is now in the Smithsonian.
It is in the Smithsonian, which is super cool.
We've been asked what our favorite episodes are. Yours has got to be the bar mitzvah episode.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most iconic one for me. We just rewatched it, and it really is that good. It's such a great episode.
It's so good. These episodes, some of them are so good.
That was probably the best one for me. That, and obviously, and carnal knowledge, which is the other end of the growing up spectrum. First is becoming a bar mitzvah, and then the second is losing your virginity.
Right.
That book ended growing up for me, at least for my characters. But I think my favorite story arc that I wasn't the primary focus of were the math class episodes with Mr.
Yes, Collins.
Those are so good.
Mr. Collins. No, that is not Ben Savage. That is Josh Saviano over here on Instagram. So for those of you guys, Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, I'm on Instagram Live, split screen with Josh Saviano, who played Paul Pfeiffer on The Wonder Years. You can hear his voice on these two, but if you want to actually see him, then head over to either my Instagram or Josh's Instagram. Click on the circle of our face, and then it should come up.
What was your favorite accident? Was the accident yours?
The accident, I like that episode, but I mean, my favorite episode is the pilot episode of The Wonder Years, the very first one. It was some of the best television I think that's ever been made. We took 9 days, I believe, to shoot it. Yeah. Right?
I mean, I don't remember the specific days. It felt like 9 years to me.
Yeah. I still remember sitting in that trailer, that school trailer, and we were all talking about what if the show does well. Do you remember that?
No, my nearest. I mean, obviously, I remember filming. I don't have specific memories of the pilot, but the most specific memory I remember is where I was when I was told that we got picked up. Then everything kind of became real for me.
I was very much a newbie in the business. I did not understand the significance of any of it. Even while that show was on, I didn't get it. But I remember being in the trailer. So I remember about shooting the pilot. I was trying to learn algebra. And I was 12 or 13. I was 12.
Foreshadowing.
And Jason Hervey tried to explain to me, because the teacher that they first got for us was not the great teacher that we had for a long time, David Combs, he was the most amazing teacher ever. But this person, whoever who it was, didn't know how to teach me algebra, and I was so frustrated. I remember Jason saying, "Will you just move this to the other side of the equation?" I'm like, how do you just move it? Like, nobody was telling me, add the same thing to both sides of the equation, it'll stay balanced. I still have like trauma memory from trying to learn. Jason's like trying to help out. Just move it to the other side of the, like, how could you do that? And then I also remember in that same trailer, all of us talking about what would happen if the show did really well, if it got picked up. And at the time, my character was just supposed to be a guest spot on the pilot. I wasn't supposed to be a continuing character. And I remember this moment when somebody, I don't remember who it was, said, well, I guess you wouldn't necessarily be a part of it to me. And I was just sort of shattered, but kept very quiet and very, I was always just quiet. But I remember that sort of devastating moment. But then it turned out that they offered me a series regular part. It all worked out. But that was those things you remember as a kid. They stay with you. Those moments. Like, what if we're all gonna be famous someday?
Yeah. Well, that memory was probably triggered by the emotion of fear or embarrassment, and then like being overwhelmed by relief when it got picked up, or when you got offered the series.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Mom. My mom's on.
Hey, Michaela.
Instagram. Least favorite episode. Oh, I know what my least favorite episode was. It was an episode about a pimple that Fred's character had. And the reason I don't like that episode was, first of all, there were better topics. And I understand that's a big thing. But I had this speech that I had to give. I think I'm thinking of the right episode. I was a very new actress back then. I didn't have a whole lot of training and and I had the hardest time getting through it. And Ken Topolsky was directing the episode. And he was so patient. He let me go, take a break, come back, and I still never really nailed it. And I've never felt good about it ever since. I think that was the pimple episode.
That one speech?
That one speech, sitting in the cafeteria, I just never nailed it. I felt like I was rushing it. I couldn't get through the words. I didn't have the experience and tools that I have now. And again, triggered the memory, stuck because of embarrassment. What about you, Josh? What's your least favorite episode and why? One that
my least favorite episode to film was I forget what it was called. It was the Sleep Out or the Sleepover, where Kevin and the boys, it was all boys, and it was the guys episode, and we were going to a sleepover party, or we were trying to crash a sleepover party, or like peep into a sleepover party. The Journey, maybe it was called The Journey. And it was completely shot on location, and it was completely at night all the time. And it was the first time. It was a one-time director who came in who was not used to working with kids.
Oh gosh,
it was brutal. That episode was brutal to film. Fred and I still have
was
a
that
joke
the
about
one
it.
where you guys went spelunking or something?
No, that was the cave episode with
Okay.
Breckin Meyer.
Yeah, that's right. Breckin Meyer. There's another one.
I had just done a movie with Breckin like a year before we did the pilot, so I was like, oh, I guess everything I'm going to do is going to be with Breckin Meyer. Very funny. Yeah, I know the spelunking episode was done actually on set. We did that one on set. Yeah. We built that cave on set. This one I'm talking about, The Journey, was a couple years later. It was with it was the group of boys. That was just a tough episode because it was always at night. It was all night.
It was just practically speaking, just tough. Somebody asked me about. I'm getting asked about the episode where Kevin and Winnie both got stomach flu, and then also the accident. So stomach flu one, that was the first season.
I just watched that one.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I remember that one pretty well because Daniel Stern directed it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was really funny and really off color. Like his humor was, I was very much like a good girl, and like he would just say really funny things on set. But anyway, I remember that my character got sick, and somehow Kevin and Winnie like got closer during that time because he was coming over and like making me laugh and stuff. But then he went to a party actually with Becky Slater included, and was Paul at that party as well?
You sound familiar.
I feel like,
yeah, I think so.
And everybody was making fun of people, and they started making fun of Winnie and saying that I was like, looked like I had a hanger in my shirt. Although I think that line got cut out, which is interesting because that like scarred me. I wasn't actually.
That episode was just between you and me and Paul and Carla and Becky and whatever. That was.
That was another episode that they made fun of me in.
Yeah, about the dancing with you with the shirt and the hanger was how that was how the whole thing with Becky Slater started, and that was the foundation of Nemesis, which was Crystal's.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
I just watched it.
You just watched it?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Okay, I forgot that there were actually 2 episodes that made fun of my character. Yeah. Okay, thank you for clearing that up. I had melded them in my mind. So somebody asked me if it all mushes together, so I guess partially they did. Yeah, and then I got to jump on the bed.
Right.
Kevin.
Someone just said, thank you for beating Kevin in basketball. You're welcome. Thank you. That was a validating moment for me and my character.
And then so somebody had asked me about the episode because Bob Seger's song, We've Got Tonight, I think that was the only time they used a song that wasn't from the era that the show was in, right?
Oh, the one music continuity issue?
They just loved the song so much they wanted to use it anyway, and they did, and it was a perfect song. It was the moment where so Winnie was in a car accident. I think it was a car accident with her new boyfriend who was driving, I guess. And she's in bed with like, a bandage on her head and stuff. And Kevin Arnold like climbs up the side of the house and looks in through her window and says, I love you. And Winnie says, I love you back. And We've Got Tonight starts playing. Now, right? I think I'm getting that right. Mm-hmm. So when you're a kid actor on set, you oftentimes are in the schoolroom and you're not actually like with each other when you're shooting a scene, especially for close-ups. There'll be like a little tape or there'll be a photo double or somebody that you're talking to. And sure enough, in this scene, I don't think Fred and I acted together at all.
Right.
Which actually, is disappointing to some people. But.
So that was one of the issues that the director of that Journey episode had, is that because we were in school so much and it was at nighttime, he was very frustrated that we weren't really allowed to do off-camera work.
Right. That would be frustrating. That's funny. Yeah, but it trains you well, because then if you're acting later and you can't have someone there, you're like, oh, I got this. I did a scene once in the, it was the field trip episode where we went to the observatory. And there was a scene where I had to look across and see a bunch of different people, and then there were people closer to me that I was having a scene with. None of them were there when I shot my close-up. I literally had like 5 pieces of tape all around the math box, and they put smiley faces on them, which was very sweet. So I could do my scene. Can you imagine that?
Bobby Broom.
I mean, as an adult, you never have to deal with that.
Remember Bobby Broom? He's the one who was the boom operator. He's
yes.
The one that would put all the smiley faces on the marks.
Is he the one who put the smiley faces on? They changed the main theme song. Then you're not watching the original DVDs, are you? The DVDs have the original music. Hulu, right. I think.
It's on Hulu, and it's
Hulu changed the music.
Yeah, just the theme. It doesn't have the Cocker theme, and I complain about it every time we watch a new episode.
Yeah, it's like, come on.
It just doesn't feel right. It hits wrong.
No, it's cheaper. They took the cheap way out. I mean, I'm grateful that Hulu has it available for people, but if you want to see the real thing, It's available on DVD with the original music. I don't think the songs inside the episodes are original at Hulu either.
Don't think. No, they are. They got a lot of the broadcasting rights. They didn't get Cocker.
They got some of them?
Yeah, the Cocker estate didn't give the opening credit license, from what I understand.
That's so disappointing. But yeah,
somebody said get the DVDs. You should get
DVDs. It's on the DVD. It's on DVD. It's available. You can buy them on Amazon or wherever. And that was in 2014 or 2015?
I don't remember.
Because we did all that press for it and stuff.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Someone's shouting out to the Valentine's Day episode. The reason they changed it is because it was cheaper and they didn't want to pay for the rights. They didn't actually change it. There's just, if you watch it on Hulu, you'll see a different theme song. Same thing when it was on Netflix, which is not anymore.
Well, it's the same theme song. It's just a different version. It's not the Joe Cocker version.
Right. Does it sound similar?
Yeah, it's the same song. It's just not Joe Cocker.
Okay. Oh, somebody says some of the songs are different. Okay, so they noticed.
Oh, they are different? Got it.
Yeah. Well, Adam, it's money. It's just money. How could they do it? To save money.
Did you hear at some point that they were? At some point, I heard there was when we were early in the show that they were thinking of changing the theme song from the Cocker version of "Get By with a Little Help from Her Friends" to Layla. Eric Clapton.
Really?
Layla. Yeah.
Also Joe Cocker.
Eric Clapton.
Right? Oh, Eric Clapton. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Cream. No, not Cream.
That would have been
right? Domino's. The fast version, not the slow version. It didn't obviously take, and I'm glad it didn't.
Yeah. Well, now you can't imagine it different. But of course,
exactly.
If it had changed, then we wouldn't be able to imagine it any other way from there.
Exactly.
Right?
There have been a lot of questions that have come up, and I've forgotten them now. So keep sending out questions. And
did Daniel Stern ever visit the set? Yes, he directed episodes. How many did he direct?
I forgot how many he directed, especially early on. He directed at least 4 or 5 early on.
He did, yeah. Harper's Woods. Where's Harper's Woods? Where's Harper's Woods? Where was that?
It was the woods that you had your first kiss in. I watched that episode.
Where, like in LA? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember.
Where did I get the mug? I got it actually from the Wonder Years. Like when I've had this mug for 30 years. Watch, now I break it.
Don't jinx it.
And the thing is, I could probably buy one like this. But it's actually the original one that show gave me whenever that was. So just for those of you just joining on Facebook and Twitter, Periscope, I'm on Instagram live right now with Josh Saviano, who played Paul Pfeiffer on The Wonder Years. We're answering your questions because we're all stuck at home and we want just to be nostalgic for a few minutes and hang out.
I've seen a bunch of questions talking about the finale. Lots of different questions about the finale. I know there's been a lot of discussion about the finale. I'll let you sort of give your thoughts on it, but from a factual perspective, just so people understand this, because this question gets asked a lot, we didn't know at that time whether or not that was going to be our last episode.
Right, we knew it might be.
Right, we knew it was possible. New World, which is our production company, was sort of going under, and they were looking to get us into syndication. So there was some question about whether or not we were going to do one more season. And so we didn't know, and I know that Dan and Allie have much stronger opinions about this than I do. But we didn't know going into it whether it was going to be the last episode. And that narration where you know where everybody ended up, I didn't know about that until I saw it live.
Yeah,
because we weren't told and we didn't know.
But they shot it so that they could put that narration on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I know that question's come up a lot.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, I was sad. But I remember Dan Lauria was like, "Oh, we're gonna be back next season. Don't worry."
Right.
We didn't know. What were they specifically asking about it? Besides, if we knew if it was the last one.
I get the questions. I think significantly more delayed than you do because I'm joining your live. So and they come by so quickly. So I'm not entirely sure what they all said.
Do you still get residuals?
Still a lawyer. I got that.
Okay.
Yeah, we get.
Oh, but I'm seeing it when you're seeing it.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Macovey is off the table.
That's one of my favorite episodes. That's a great episode. No, I'm not still a lawyer. Thank goodness.
It would have been great to have one more season, it's true, because then we could have graduated from high school. That would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, again, that was where I think the natural end of the show should have been. Finishing high school.
We all kind of feel like we should have had one more. Exactly. Not more than that, just one more.
Just one more.
Yeah. Yeah, all right, you guys. Any last question? You know, we can do this again sometime. We can do this next week if you want. I mean, you know, Wonder Years Wednesdays during quarantine.
WYW. Hashtag.
Yes. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. This was really fun. That brought me back, made me forget what was going on for a minute.
Yeah.
And no, Josh is not Marilyn Manson. I can't believe this is the first time I see this question come up. I thought for sure it was going to come up sooner than that.
Yeah, no, I even put that on my post. That's like, no more of that.
It's so silly. So funny.
Yeah, people, everyone out there, be safe. Stay home if you can. If you have to go out there, thank you. But
right.
don't.
Yeah.
Stay home.
If you're providing an essential service, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. And if you're not, stay home.
Stay home if you can. All right, yeah, let's do this again. This was fun.
Yeah, this is fun. Okay, right on. Okay, we'll be in touch and just watch our Twitter streams or Instagram or something. We'll let you know when we settle on the same time. Maybe we'll settle the same time next week. I'm not committing to that right now. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe that'll work out.
Well, maybe we should do it Tuesdays at 8:30, like our old time slot.
I have Draco on Tuesdays. See, I should have my phone. So I do things like this on days I don't have them.
I get it.
It was on Wednesday nights for a while.
Yeah, they moved us from Tuesday nights at 8:30 once we owned, remember Tuesday was the ABC. It was like we were the best watched night of all time until TV. And then they moved us from Tuesday at 8:30 to try to anchor Wednesday night as well. And that's when a little upstart network called Fox had a show that they were trying out in the younger demographic called Beverly Hills 90210. And they
did we go against them?
They did. They put us up against 90210. We still won, but our ratings dropped.
Some people asking. This is Josh Saviano over on Instagram. We've been on. I don't even know what time it is. We've been on for a little while. And we're going to sign off now, but we're going to do this again. This is just for fun, just for you guys who are all stuck at home, or to thank those of you who are providing essential services to bring back a little nostalgia during this crazy quarantine time. We really appreciate you all, and thanks for tuning in. And Josh, it was so nice reminiscing with you. Let's do this again.
Let's do this again. This is fun. Give my love to your family.
I will. Okay. Bye, everyone.